So welcome to video 6 of our series, our course. So my entry into psychology was through sports psychology, actually. As a long-time top-level equestrian and athlete with horses, I came to this profession by way of sport and the psychology of winning, essentially. And I had a consulting business, a small one, that worked with top-level athletes to help them realize their potential. It was called The Winning Mind. And I was fascinated by what it is in the mind that allows one person to win and to come through in the clutch and another not to. Because often these top-level athletes have the same physical skills, but very different minds. And so I say all that because one of the books that I read during that chapter of my life was a book by Tim Gallwey called The Inner Game of Tennis. And it changed my life. It changed my practice, and it opened up a whole new paradigm for stepping away from mind as a path to fulfilling potential, if you will. Not being so buried in our thoughts and so on. It was a long time ago, but it struck a chord. And there was one thing that Tim Gallwey said in that always stayed with me as well, which was a story he was telling about when he taught successful tennis players to correct their swing, and gave them all sorts of strategies for that. And what he found was when they went back out on the court, they started winning with their new strategies for their swing. But very soon, their mind started thinking about, oh, why didn't I know this before? Why did it take me so long to figure out this strategy? Or, oh gosh, how am I going to hold on to it? How can I keep this strategy? Will it last? Or, what is this going to make me? I'm going to be top 5. I'm going to be a superstar with this strategy. Essentially, the mind went running off into the past or the future, and had a whole bunch of thoughts about what it was doing with this new swing technique. But what he found was that if he taught athletes, tennis players, to do the new swing, but while on the court, while playing the tournament, to simply note bounce when the ball bounced and note hit when the racket hit the ball, that allowed the mind to stay off the court. So just that simple instruction, you learn all the strategies, and then when you get on the court, you note in your mind just the bounce and the hit. And what he found was that those athletes could keep winning with their new swing. The other ones could not, and soon it collapsed. So what we know, all that to say, is that the mind has an allergy to the present moment. Thoughts can't survive in the present moment. They really can't. There's nothing for thoughts to do in the present mind. They need to be thinking about the future or ruminating on the past. They need to be coming up with a plan of some sort. But right here, right now, in the present moment, there isn't a place for thought. And the body is always, thankfully, in the present moment. Because if we needed to rely on our mind to be present, to tell our heart to beat or our intestines to digest, we'd be in a lot of trouble. But thankfully, the body does that on its own without our needing to be present. But, and we're taught to stay out of the body. We're taught the body is not to be trusted, right? The mind is to be trusted. Reason, science, and then there's, of course, a whole religious history of why the body is dangerous and so on. But the body is always in the present moment, and we can always take a direct flight to now by entering the body. That'll take us to the present moment. The mind can't survive in the present moment. It'll take us somewhere else. And the mind is also very tricky because sometimes it looks like the mind is in the present moment. It looks like our thoughts are about the present moment, but really they are some sort of commentary or narrative or analysis of the present moment. They're not, our mind is not actually here, it's commenting on the present moment, which is a little bit different than actually being in the present moment. So we want to be noticing, right, when the mind is supposedly present, right, what is it doing? So often what it's doing, in addition to this sort of commentary, is comparing the present moment with what it should be. We are saying, this isn't the present moment I want. I is the central character of all our thoughts. That's normal. That's not because we're raging narcissists, but I need to do something to make this present moment different. That's a place that the mind can be in the present moment. So it is comparing and contrasting what should be happening. And many of our thoughts are about that, about how to fix this present moment so it works for us better, to improve it, to do something with it, to solve a problem that's here. We're futzing, if you will, with the present moment. And that is an activity that the mind can get involved with. But essentially, we're always in a fight with reality inside our mind. Our thoughts are always fighting with reality as it is. And as we know, we fight with reality, reality wins 100% of the time. So we're trying to do something all the time with what's happening. Notice that in yourself. That's the place that the mind and thoughts reside, and the role that thoughts play when they're here, when they're not moving out into the future or into the past. We notice the future and the past movement perhaps a bit more, but we might not notice what they're doing with what's happening, the thoughts.